How about the Texans offense? DeAndre Hopkins gone, and I don't know if you saw the tweet last night. He tweeted at 12:17 a.m. Eastern Time, one word, grateful. And he got called out for it because people think he's throwing shade or showing thrade against the Texans, but it's because he was on the Fallon show. That's what he explained. But why not say grateful for being on with Jimmy Fallon or something like that? It was enough to create the reaction that may at some level have been intended. But without him, they had to pivot to the likes of David Johnson, who had a decent night in what is kind of a rebirth for him. 77 yards rushing, 32 yards receiving. My math skills are not great, but that is more than 100 yards from scrimmage, and a touchdown early on for David Johnson. So a good showing from him. He looked a lot like the guy who was a star for a relatively brief period of time in Arizona, Chris.
Yeah, he did. You could see what he can bring to the offense, what Billy O'Brien likes about him. That first touchdown run, that was a special run. For a guy his size, you could see he can start and stop on a dime too. Got great body control and had enough speed to run around the edge. And, like Edwards-Helaire, we didn't really see him unleashed in the pass game either. I know he had the 2 receptions, or maybe it was more than that. It was 3. Sorry. But, yeah, I think this Texans offense with David Johnson, no DeAndre Hopkins, the new wide receivers, all that, hey, it's a work in progress. And certainly last night was, it was tough sledding. They kind of had that one drive and then just fell apart and did nothing for a while. The thing that I worry about, though, just after watching the game last night, Mike, the offensive line was disappointing to me for Houston. That was disappointing. They got their butts whooped up front. Watson was under duress the whole time. And I thought that might have been something we could say, hey, they figured this out.
He's always under duress the whole time. I
had hope because of the 2 rookies from last year, the way they played and everything like that they might have had these problems figured out with Laramie Tunzel in the center and everything like that. But you saw the right guard was a weak point, and the Chiefs got some dudes over on the other side that can cause havoc.
You're not going to face Chris Jones every week.
No, you're not.
So maybe your offensive line is better, and maybe your offensive line would have done a better job against Chris Jones in November, not the first game out of the chute. Let me run this by you. Tell me whether or not you agree with this. Not that I need to invite you to disagree with me. It felt like the Texans were playing a preseason game and the Chiefs were playing a regular season game.
I understand what you're saying by that. I felt like the play call and the play sheet for Andy Reid was in regular season mode, and the Texans were still in hey, we don't want to mess anything up. These are the basics of our playbook. We're not far enough into training camp yet to get some of the other things. So I totally feel you. I thought the offense was very basic, very what I would call first week of installation type things, where I didn't see anything where I went, ooh, that's a new look for them, or that's cool. I've never seen them do that. And it seemed like that on both sides of the ball, Mike, that they're still kind of in the beginning phases. And, yeah, Kansas City looks like they're just, capitalizing on what they did last year.
And a point you've been making for a while now, the continuity, the value of the continuity, the known commodity, and the team that doesn't have a lot of new moving pieces and can fall back to what it did last year. Because throughout training camp, think of all of the things that a head coach has to worry about.
Yeah.
And all of the issues and all of the concerns and all of the various factors. And that being spread too thin is eventually going to manifest itself some way. And we saw it with the Texans. And look, Bill O'Brien wears both hats, coach and GM, and I know he's got people helping him, but everything that he did between July 28th and last night in his capacity as the Texans general manager took away time that he could have spent as the coach. And it just he's a great coach. And again, they could have drawn the Jaguars this week and won 34-13.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
And we'd be saying,
that's right.
Hey, they're on their way.
Right.
So of all the teams in the NFL, who drew the toughest assignment week 1?
Yeah.
It was the Texans.
Right.
And all we know based upon what we saw last night is the best possible record for the Texans can be 15-1. And the worst possible record for the Chiefs can be 1-15. That's all we really know.
Yeah.
And let's remember that. It's not time to throw dirt on the 2020 Texans. They got a tough draw right out of the gates, and they had to deal with it, and they dealt with it. and they did the best they could under the circumstances, and they learn from it, and they grow from it, and they try to get ready for their next game. That's the attitude they have to have, because there's 15 more trains coming down the track.
That's right. You're right. It's great perspective. You're exactly right. I mean, it's they could have got one of the worst teams in football. We go, oh, the Texans look pretty good. Look at this. Oh, they're not missing DeAndre Hopkins. You're right. They got the worst possible team you could deal with. A team that's just fearless and talented and all together still. So that's tough. Yeah, we'll see. We've had this story before with the Houston Texans. I feel like this is like Billy O'Brien's whole career there. Oh, I don't know. They're 2-3. They're 1-4. Can they do something? What's going to happen? And all of a sudden they sneak into the playoffs. So I really do have faith in the coach. And yes, they got some new moving parts that they got to work and figure out how they want to make this offense complement each other with these new receivers and everything like that. So they're not dead. I know that. Not with Deshaun Watson and Billy O'Brien and that company there. I think they're going to be okay. But I do worry about that defense. As you saw last night, there's too many unproven commodities in the secondary. There's a few you like, but, J.J. Watt's not the superstar he once was. He's getting up there in age. And you see there's just no difference makers on that Texans defense. And that scares me when they have to play, the elite teams in the NFL that have good offenses.
A lot of coaches will split their schedule up into 25% each, 4 different chunks, 4 games,
right.
4 games, 4 games, 4 games. For the Texans, I haven't done a whole lot of peeking ahead on the schedule yet this year, just because the focus has been so much, let's get to week 1 and let's get through week 1. At the Chiefs, obviously.
Yeah.
Then they get the mini bye, and it's the Ravens. My God. Who did Bill O'Brien piss
off? Somebody.
And then it's at the Steelers and the Vikings.
Yeah.
They don't get one of the cupcakes, all due respect, until week 5. And even then, it's a brief respite because it's the Titans and Packers before you get to eat the second cupcake out of the pack that is the Jaguars. So, this is going to be a real. Man, I feel better about leaving the Texans off the list of playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not feeling great about it now.
Consult their schedule before I left them off, but it's and that's the thing. They get some extra time to get ready for the Ravens.
That's right.
The good news. The Ravens are going to have 7 days, and the Texans have 10 days. And let's see what they do with those 3 days, because they're going to need every minute of those 3 days to try to get off the schneid, as some would say, and get ready to keep rolling. By the way, beautiful work last night by someone in Kansas City with the assortment of cutouts.
Oh,
not just any old guy or schmo like you or me, Chris.
That was
some
great.
high-level cutouts, including The Rock getting a little too cozy to the Queen. Look, we'd have to consult with our friends in the UK and Ireland who are watching this on Sky Sports. That probably is a breach of some sort of royal protocol.
No
because
doubt.
Chris, they tell you all the things you can say and do, and I think leaning in like that to Her Royal Highness probably frowned upon.
Definitely. She should pour a warm cup of tea on him or something and get him the hell out of there. She's got her hand up there, if you look at the picture, to swat him away. Like, how dare you? I'm royalty, and you're just
waving him closer. Could be waving him closer.
Maybe you're
he
right.
is The Rock, after all.
Maybe you're right. Maybe she's like, damn, you're making a lot of money every year now. You're kind of big time.
There was of all the other ones up there too. It was great because you see the shot and it's like, oh, who's that? And of course, beautiful work to have Ralphie from A Christmas Story. I know it's not topical yet. We're still a few months away from Christmas season, but there he was, decked out with his Red Ryder carbine action BB gun with a compass in the stock and this thing that tells time. And I know I left some things out. It's a very long and convoluted explanation of the thing he wanted and the thing he got for Christmas. We wanted football. We got football, and we've got plenty more football to talk about. But before we get back to the actual playing of the games, we're going to take a closer look at what went on before last night's game.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.